Hi! All this week, I've discussed the verbs awake, awaken, and wake. And in the past, I've frequently received questions from students regarding what's similar, what's different. Gosh, these verbs are a bit confusing. So in this video, I hope I will be able to make you a little more confident in your use of these three verbs. So let's start off with the part most people find the most confusing, and that's the pronunciation and the different forms of this verb that we use in different tenses. So I've included some phonetic sounds here with these verbs, but let's do a quick review. Our first verb, awake, has a long A sound in the second syllable. It's an irregular verb. So in the past tense, we're going to make a long O sound and say awoke, awoke. And then our participle form of this verb is, again, irregular. It's pronounced awoken, so another long O sound here. Okay? Our second verb, awaken, has that long A in its base verb. It has an extra syllable there with that EN ending. But awaken is a regular verb. So we're just adding an ED in the past tense in the participle forms. Our vowel sound in the middle of this word is going to stay consistent. It's going to be a long A sound. Awakened, awakened. Okay. And then our third verb, wake, also has, it's one syllable. It has a long A sound in there, and it's irregular, and it follows the same spelling and pronunciation changes like the verb awake. So in the past tense here, we have woke, so long O sound there, and then in the participle form, woken. Again, another long O. So I hope this helps us a little bit distinguish the small differences in pronouncing these particular verbs. So I think one of the other things that can cause confusion is that all three verbs, awake, awaken, and wake, can mean to stop sleeping or to cause someone else to stop sleeping. And so you might be asking yourself, why do we have these verbs, right? And we're just enhancing the confusion. I will note, and I'll remind you at the end, they also have other meanings, but we're going to focus on this particular usage of stopping sleeping, stopping the activity of sleeping. So I think as I reflect on conversations, text messaging, emails, reading in my daily life, I certainly use and hear or see the verb wake most frequently. And I'll even note the phrasal verb wake up is particularly common. So I think you're going to hear that in everyday conversation, and I would encourage you to use this particular form. So I've got a couple examples. Someone might ask you the question, what time did you wake up today? Right? That's going to be most common. We could make a question with awake or awaken, but that sounds a bit formal and even maybe just a bit stuffy. Right? Someone might be kind of surprised to hear you use awake or awaken with that type of question. Another example, I woke up 3 times during the night. Okay. Again, more likely to hear this as someone's discussing their sleeping habits. And I think it's also important to note, we're not going to use the preposition up with the verbs awake or awaken. So if you have a habit of doing that, I would encourage you to stop. It's going to sound a little funny to other speakers or to other readers. So wake up is by far most common. Okay. Now, you might be wondering, well, then why do we have awake and awaken? And I think you'll see more instances of these verbs used in literature, so in storytelling. I think this particular, or these two particular verbs, help us create a mental picture. So as we're reading, it lets us imagine what's happening in this particular story or what's happening to a particular character. So I have a couple examples here. You might see a passage like this. They awoke to strange sounds in the middle of the night. Right? That would grab a reader's attention. As would the sentence, a thunderous noise awakened everyone on the block. Okay, so again, more likely to see this in storytelling. Okay, I will also note, though, that the word awake can be an adjective, and that is actually a more common thing that you will see and hear. So less likely to hear awake used as a verb. So I've got two examples of an adjective usage here. So someone might text you a question, are you awake? Right? So that's an adjective in that sentence. Another example might be, I was still awake when he came home. Okay, so I'm describing my state in that I'm not asleep. Okay. One last reminder, I said this a little bit earlier. If you haven't watched my earlier videos where I discuss each verb individually, I would encourage you to do that because they all have some slightly different meanings. The thing that they have here in common really is that meaning of stopping sleep. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great day.